We spend a lot of money on nuclear missiles, nuclear weapons. The level of destruction is beyond anything you can even imagine. It's just bad that everybody has to spend all this money on something that if it's used, it's probably the end of the world. They talk about the climate, and they talk about the dangers of the climate, but they don't talk about the dangers of a nuclear weapon, which could happen tomorrow. They say in 300 years, I watched Biden for years say the existential threat. He loved the term existential threat. Our greatest existential threat is from the climate. And I said, no. Well, the greatest is sitting in shelves in various countries called nuclear weapons that are big monsters that can blow your heads off for miles and miles and miles. And they never mention that.
15. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous. 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of God. And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy. For all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments are made manifest. And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was opened, and the 7 angels came out of the temple, having the 7 plagues, clothed in pure and white linen, and having their breasts girded with golden girdles. And one of the 4 beasts gave unto the 7 angels 7 golden vials full of the wrath of God, who liveth forever and ever. And the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from his power. And no man was able to enter into the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were fulfilled. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume, into smoke shall they consume away.
This is the book of Malachi, chapter 4, verse 1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Call halal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, that's giving all praise to the Most High, and in his only begotten Son, named the Holy Spirit. Double honors to our teachers, the elders, and apostles, a great millstone who taught us his truth and sincerity, peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad. Shalom to 144,000. And as you saw what Trump said in the beginning, in Salakia, this video is probably going to be put up raw, so it might be all over the place. But you get the picture, okay? And Lord willing, they don't take it down, okay? This is just for edificational purposes. I'm not making any monetary gain off of this. And, because, that clip I put in there, which is one of the edits from, one of the brothers in the camp. And they always try to take that video down. They always try to take it down. So Lord, when they don't take it down this time, but man, that video is heavy. Okay, because it shows you what these nuclear missiles are going to do. And as Trump said, they're sitting on shelves in these various countries, which are not sitting on those shelves to collect dust. It's Bible prophecy that they're going to be used. And when they are used, as it says, that shall burn, says the day is coming that shall burn as an oven. So when they use, it's going to be like an oven burning, man. Okay, and as you saw in that video, all that fire was just consuming everything in his path. So Trump knows, the existential threat, as he said, that Biden says the real existential threat is nuclear missiles, okay? Nuclear annihilation, because that's going to be the end of Esau's world. Not the end of their world, but the end of Esau's world, or the end of their rulership. And they understand this, okay? So we in a time where the Lord is really about to show the whole world, that he is not with this man and ultimately destroy him and his kingdom, okay? Let me grab this too, because, these world wars are leading up into the ultimate world war, which is the third world war. It says in Revelation chapter 11, verse 14, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. It says in the that's the point. The third woe comes quickly, which woe goes into destruction. So the second woe is the second, which is, in this case, the world war. Okay, that was a lot of destruction, a lot of death happened in that second world war. It says, and behold, the third world woe or world war cometh quickly. So this third world war is going to be fought with fuel of fuel of fire, man. Okay, nuclear fire. Okay, let's go over here. It says, like I said, this video might be all over the place. It says, 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10, it says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth and also the works that are therein shall be burned up. You see, so, hey, man, the elements are going to melt. I was going into that camp the other day about how, you had a Russian general that said they got some shit to make the concrete melt. And Putin said, we're not bluffing. Okay, they ain't playing. They're not playing around, man. They're letting you know. Keep poking the bear. Keep playing. We got something for you. It's like if you're trying to bully somebody, but you don't know that they have a gun on them, and you're trying to bully them with a stick or something. And he say, hey, bro, keep playing. And what happen? He has to punch holes in you. So these nations, they're going to punch holes in America with these thermonuclear missiles, man. Okay. It says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, right? What spirit should you be in right now? Okay, what spirit should you be in right now, knowing that this is coming, knowing that this is it is inevitable. Okay, looking for and hastening the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. You see, the elements shall melt with fervent heat. All right, the heavens being on fire. All right, everything that we know and see here in the shores of America is going to be burned up. Okay, completely consumed with thermonuclear fire. And that's what Trump is talking about. It says, nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for a new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness, which means a renewed kingdom. Okay, a new era, where righteousness is going to reign. And that's for that to happen. This present world must be destroyed. It says, wherefore, beloved, seeing that you look for such things, be diligent that you may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless. You see, you want to be found of the Lord in peace, without spot and blameless. In the NLT, it says, verse 13, but we look, when we go up, verse 12, it says, it's luck here. It says, looking forward to the day of the Most High and hurrying it along. On that day, we will set the heavens on fire. It's like on that day, he will set the heavens on fire and the elements will melt away in the flames. But we are looking forward to the new heavens and the new earth, where new earth, he has promised a world filled with the Most High's righteousness. And so, dear friends, while you are waiting for these things to happen, make every effort to be found living peaceful lives that are pure and blameless in his sight. And that's why we gotta, hey, man, this is the time. Okay, let me grab this too. Awake out of sleep, because Jake is still asleep right now, man. All right, this is the time to really wake up and take this thing seriously. Okay, this is Romans chapter 13, verse Verse 11, I'm reading NLT. It says, this is all the more urgent. Salakia. This is all the more urgent, for you know how late it is. Time is running out. Wake up, for our salvation is nearer than we believed. It's like nearer now than when we first believed. Okay, Salakia. It's a little early. I'm getting them mixed up, but you get the picture. Wake up, for our salvation is nearer now than when we first believed. And when you first came into this truth, our salvation and the destruction of America is far closer than it was back then. Okay? It says the night is almost gone. The day of salvation will soon be here. Okay, and that's salvation for the elect. It says, so remove your dark deeds like dirty clothes and put on the shining armor of right living. Right. That's why we got to be renewed as we come into this truth, because, you can't be doing the same shit you was doing when you was in the world, man. Okay. You can't be a nigga and be an Israelite. Okay. You're going to be one or the other. It says, because we belong to the day, we must live decent lives for all to see. Don't participate in the darkness of wild parties and drunkenness or in sexual promiscuity. Which that's what people of this world are doing. It says, don't participate in darkness of wild parties. They have these parties and drunkenness at the clubs. It says in the sexual promiscuity and immoral living, right? People out here just living it up. It says, or in quarreling and jealousy. Okay, instead, clothe yourselves with the presence of the Lord, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and don't let yourself think about ways to indulge in your evil desires. And that's the thing, too. You gotta, we have to be changed, man. But it starts now. It starts now within ourselves. You can't be doing the same shit you was doing in the world, man. And then at the same, on the other side of your mouth, calling yourself a prophet or a man of the Lord. No, those things don't go together. So our lives had to change for us to get this far, so we can ultimately be changed when the Lord comes back with healing in his wings. Okay, with healing in his wings. But for most people, the majority of people, they're going to be destroyed in this fire. They're going to be destroyed with these nukes, man. All right. So like I said, they're not there for nothing. Okay, they're not just on them shelves collecting dust. No, they're all going to be used, okay, and bring a great destruction, a great death, a great, burning, okay, shall melt the elements. And people, everything is made up of elements, so it's going to melt and cause great death and destruction. And that's when people are going to realize that the prophets were set before you to warn you of these things. Shalom, Hamashiach.
Now that Russia says it will help the United States negotiate a nuclear deal with Iran. What kind of a deal with Iran do you want to do? You said they cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah. Well, there are two ways Iran can be handled, militarily or you make a deal. I would prefer to make a deal because I'm not looking to hurt Iran. They're great people. I know so many Iranians from this country.
Well, not the leadership.
No, not the leadership.
The people.
They're very evil people. No, but the people of Iran are great people. But they had a tough regime. And they'd meet and they'd be shot in the streets. I mean, it was a tough deal. But I would rather negotiate a deal. I'm not sure that everybody agrees with me, but we can make a deal that would be just as good as if you won militarily. But the time is happening now. The time is coming up. Something's going to happen one way or the other. I hope that Iran, and I've written them a letter saying, I hope you're going to negotiate, because if we have to go in militarily, it's going to be a terrible thing for them.
You wrote a letter to the Khomeini?
Yes.
When did you send the letter?
Yesterday.
And you said you better negotiate, or we want you to negotiate?
I didn't say you better. I said, I hope you're going to negotiate, because it's going to be a lot better for Iran. And I think they want to get that letter. The other alternative is we have to do something, because you can't let them have a nuclear weapon.
You said you wanted to do the Golden Dome. You've got a lot of ideas for America. But then earlier you said you wanted to cut $1 trillion in defense spending, right?
I didn't say I was.
You're not going to. So I was like, which is it? Are you cutting defense spending, or are you building us up?
I never said defense spending.
Okay, because I think you were talking about denuclearization.
Correct.
And that's where the cutting of the spending came in.
I never said cut. No, it's not in these days. I'd love to cut defense spending, but not now. because you have China, you have Russia,
Yeah,
you have
glad
a
to
lot
hear
of
you say that,
problems
yeah.
out there. No.
In fact,
no.
this-
What I have said is, we spend a lot of money on nuclear missiles, nuclear weapons. The level of destruction is beyond anything you can even imagine. It's just bad that everybody has to spend all this money on something that, if it's used, it's probably the end of the world.
Wow. I don't know
it's
what to
true.
say to that.
You know, when I
mean,
listen to these,
because-
when I listen to these climate lunatics and they talk about global warming, and they say the ocean's going to rise 1/8 of an inch in the next 300 years, and and nobody ever talks about nuclear weapons or some of the other things, but the nuclear weapons in particular right now. And they talk about the climate, and they talk about the dangers of the climate, but they don't talk about the dangers of a nuclear weapon, which could happen tomorrow. They said 300 years. I watched Biden for years say the existential threat. He loved the term existential threat. Our greatest existential threat is from the climate. I said, no.
Well,
the greatest is sitting in shelves in various countries called nuclear weapons that are big monsters that can blow your heads off for miles and miles and miles. And they never mention that.